Welcome to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast, a space where we break free from tradition, creating a wedding day totally authentic to you and your love story. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you plan a wedding day that feels uniquely yours. Join me for planning tips and advice, endless inspiration, and a pocket full of calm within the chaos that is wedding planning. Consider me a trusted friend, here to walk you through it all. From injecting fun splashes of personality into your day, to reinventing tradition completely, all whilst focused on building a day bespoke to your dreams and desires. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, welcome back to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. Another episode with me, 23 episodes today. Episode 23, that's very exciting. Very exciting. As always, thrilled to be here. Very excited to be recording more episodes for you. So thank you for joining. Lots of lovely feedback I've been getting lately. Not to, really go off on a soppy one straight from the get-go. But I've had some really nice messages from people saying thank you so much for the podcast. It's really helped me to plan my wedding, and saying, I listened to this episode and I had another question. Can you help? Which, by the way, always happy to help. So yeah, it's just been really lovely. So thank you so much for listening. I'm very grateful. And also my clients at the moment, when I'm like working with my couples and they're like, oh yeah, I was listening to this episode the other day and we wanted to talk to you about it. And I was watching the podcast on YouTube the other day and it just warms my heart. It really does. I try not to think about it too much because it does make me feel a bit weird when I'm like, oh, you've just been listening to me like in the car or just whilst you're doing your daily things. It's still a bit strange for me, but I'm ever so grateful. So grateful. And I'm just glad that it's helping. So another week, another episode 23. Like I've said, today we're doing an episode all about guest lists. I feel like I've touched on this a little bit before, but I wanted to just dive into the guest list topic a little bit more today and to kind of reiterate the importance of the guest list. How do we choose one? How do we hold our boundaries in place? How do we go through that process? How do we decide? And how do we have confidence in that process as well? Because I think sometimes that can feel quite overwhelming, and the peer pressure and the need to people please and to make everybody happy can be really, really tough. So we're just gonna have a bit of a natter about that today, if that's all right. So as usual, before I dive straight on into things, if you're not yet following or subscribed to the podcast, wherever you listen, I would be very grateful if you did. Leave a review. Give me as many stars as you fancy, or leave I don't know if you can leave written reviews anywhere. I still don't know. I keep saying, I don't know, I should check. I haven't. So you can do that. You can leave comments though on Spotify, on YouTube. You can come and join our Facebook group. The link's in the show notes. You can come and find me on Instagram. You can sign up to the email list. There is a whole bunch of things. If you just are like, this is great, but I need more, or you've listened to them all and you're like, again, great, but I need more, come and find some links in the show notes, and the perfect thing will be there for you. So you can come and find it. So perfect. Shall we get straight on into things today? Let's do it. Pulling together your wedding guest list can be really, really tough. It can be, because some people find it to be the toughest part, because you're like, who do I invite? Do I have to invite this person? If I invite them, then I have to invite them. Or, we've only got space for 70 people and there's like 100 people that we want to invite. How do we navigate this? It's tough. Okay. And I get it, because it's important. Your guests are like one of those things that make your day super, super memorable, right? Your guests are, you're pulling together all these plans. You've got your venue, you've got what you're going to wear, you've got your music planned out, you've got the food, you've got the decor, and then you're bringing people along to celebrate that with you. So your guest list is really important. It does have an impact in the vibe on your day. It does impact the atmosphere. It does, impact the energy that is brought to your day. So that's one way of looking at it, that it's quite important in that sense, who you're choosing to bring into that space. For me, energy and the vibes, the mindset and the value that people bring into any aspect of my life, not just a wedding day or something that's big and memorable, the energy that I allow into my space on a general day-to-day basis is really important to me. And I hold that very close. So on my wedding day, it's no different. You best believe that I am not just inviting anyone and everyone because I feel like I should, because we're inviting them into our space as a couple to celebrate our union, our marriage, our joining together as a couple in that sense, however you want to look at it. I am being even more precious about who I invite into my space on that day. And that is the kind of energy I recommend everyone brings into their wedding planning process, because this is your wedding day. And I talk about it a lot, the energy that you bring, the mindset that you bring, the vibes that people bring. We talked about it in a couple of episodes ago. If you're not on the dance floor, your guests won't be. If you're on the dance floor and you're bringing the energy and you're bringing the vibes, your guests will match whatever you bring. They're like, okay, let's do it. Same. And if you're going for more of a calm, romantic, chilled out vibe, your guests will bring that too. The people you surround yourself with bring those vibes and that energy. So be really careful and really conscious about who you're inviting into that space on such a memorable, special day. Just a little point there, as I've gone off on a little tangent, as I do. But yeah, your guest list is important. Of course, you want your nearest and dearest there. Of course, you want your most loved family and friends and whoever else there. But sometimes it's a really tough decision. And it could be tough because you've got so many people that you want to invite and you can't invite them all. Or it could be tough on the opposite side where you're feeling like you have to invite all these people that you don't really want there because they're not bringing the vibes. They're not the kind of people you want to surround yourself with, or you just don't want them there on the day and you're struggling with that. Or maybe you do want all of them there, but you can only have so many at your venue and you're really struggling to narrow that guest list down. You're really having a hard time with it. Either way, it's normal. It's fine. We will get through it. Okay. As a team, we're going to get through it. So it can be tough. Sometimes when you get married, in fact, a lot of the time when you get married, the comments and the questions begin from people that are like, oh, when am I going to get an invite? Or, oh, what's my role? What do I get to do on your wedding day? Or even the audacity of some people saying like, oh, am I going to be a bridesmaid? I beg your finest pardon. It's entitled. It's rude. You can't convince me otherwise, but not everyone has boundaries, okay? Even if people are just saying, oh, in a little joke way, when's my invite coming out? Rude. Don't ask. If you would like an invite to my wedding, you wait until I give you one. Or it means you've not been invited. If in the instance that I've sent you out an invitation, you have not received it, and I have not received an RSVP, I'll be checking in with you anyway. So there's no possible way that anybody I would like at my wedding day is not going to get the opportunity to be there. Do you know what I mean? So if someone I know is getting married and I don't receive an invite, I'm assuming I'm not invited. I'm not asking to be invited. If it hurts and if it bothers me and if that's upsetting, that's my problem to deal with. It's not their problem. If they then reach out to me months later and say, hey, I haven't had your RSVP back. And I say, oh my God, I haven't had an invitation. And they say, oh my God, no way. Well, we'd really love you to be there. And I'll say, yeah, we'd love to. Thanks. I'll be there. Fine. Problem solved. But I think there's this whole thing around the expectation that, oh yeah, I get to come to your wedding. No, there's nobody, no matter how close you are to me or how much I like you, should expect an invitation to my wedding. It's an honor to be invited to anyone's wedding. This isn't just me sitting here being like, oh, you should be so lucky to come to my wedding. It is a real honor to get invited to anybody's wedding. This is their big day. They're investing a lot of money into it. It's a big deal. Okay, they are getting married. So it is an honor. You should be lucky to get invited to anyone you know's wedding, whether you're close to them or not. I think more of us need to have that mindset and not just walk around with this like, when are you going to ask me to be a bridesmaid? Well, now I'm not because you've ruined it. You're supposed to wait for me to ask. I think, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things where people just get entitled and they ask weird questions that you don't ask in normal day-to-day life about different things. You just don't do it. And people get funny like that about weddings. I don't know what it is. It sends some people crazy. So yes, not everyone has boundaries. So my first point here would be to set yourself some boundaries. Okay. Whether it is, as a couple, you should be doing this, but whether it is a response that you're saying to everyone when people start asking you, oh, when am I coming? When am I getting my invite? Well, what should we get you for the wedding? And you're kind of saying, oh, this is our blanket response. We actually haven't decided on a guest list yet. We're keeping it quite small, but maybe that's your response. Maybe you're saying, oh, that's so lovely that you'd love to be there. We're actually just having a small day. So you're probably not going to get invited. You can keep waiting, but you're probably not going to get one. Or maybe it's, I don't know. It could be that you have to like pull yourself together like a waiting list, because some people will pull out of your guest list. It might be 2 people, it might be 10 people. Some people, life happens, and near the time they're like, I'm really sorry, I can't make it. Then you might have 2 spaces open up where you're like, I'm so sorry, this is last minute, but someone just pulled out. Would you like to come? And a lot of the time people will be like, yeah, I'd love to come to your wedding, even if they're on the backup list. That's just how it goes. And you can't get too caught up in the, am I going to upset someone mindset for your wedding? I don't think. I know it's really hard because we are built in a society of people pleasers. Me being one of them. It's tough to break out of that mindset and to be like, oh, I just want to keep everyone happy and I don't want to upset anyone, and it's tough. But to get the wedding of your dreams, sometimes it's got to be done. Also, the assumption that you're going to get an invitation to my wedding is bold, because it's expensive to invite people to my wedding. So maybe we're keeping it smaller. Maybe we don't want to pay for all these extra people at our wedding day, or maybe we want to, but we just simply can't afford it, because every single wedding guest costs you money. So if you're looking for a really efficient way to cut down on costs for your wedding, cut down your guest list. It's one of the big things I suggest, because every single wedding guest costs you so much money. If you're thinking about the things that you pay for a guest, food, okay, not just a wedding breakfast. You've got your canapes or your food in the morning, afternoon, between ceremony. You've got the wedding breakfast. You've got evening food if you're doing that, and then anything else you're doing as well. Cake, the size of your cake would impact how big your cake needs to be because of how many guests you're having, right? Drinks, table drinks. If you're doing an open bar, if that's in your budget, then that's going to affect how much money you put behind the open bar. It's going to affect how many favors you need to buy or make, how many napkins that you're doing for the table, your plates, your glasses, your crockery, all the things that you're purchasing for your wedding day, hiring out from somewhere, whether it's included in your venue or not, is going to have a cost per person. Okay, so I think it's really important to remember that those costs rack up quite quickly. And if you're needing to cut things down, maybe you're saying, actually, we're not going to have 100 people at our wedding. We're going to halve that. And in turn, halve the cost of the food, the cake, the drinks, the favors, everything else. It's not really easy thing to do, but in terms of cutting down your budget, that can be a really quick and easy, effective way to do it. But then you come on to the hard decision of cutting down your guest list, which is tough, or even deciding who to invite in the first place. I always say, you need to have a rough guest list of how many people you really want to invite before you start looking at venues or, doing all those kind of things, because that's going to impact the type of venue that you choose. If we want 200 people there, well, then it's going to limit a lot of venues because they can only hold 100 people, 150 people. So you're not going to be able to have all 200 of them there. Likewise, if you are saying we only want 20 people and we're going to go and choose a venue that can hold 200 people, it's probably going to be too big. And then you lose that intimacy and the flow of the day, because you don't need a massive venue when you're only having that many people. So there's a few things to discuss there, a few things to think about ahead of time. And it's a conversation. Sit down, have a chat about it, make some notes, but there is a process that I think is important for you to do when you're thinking about your guest list and how we're going to navigate that process. So if it was me and I was writing my guest list, this is what I would be doing. I would be sitting down with my partner, with my fiance, and I'd be sitting down and I'd be naming every single possible person I could possibly think that in some way or form could be invited to the wedding. Every single person that you think, yeah, we could invite them, maybe, or yeah, that's an option, we know them. Put them on the list. Get everybody out on the list. Every name you can think of between the two of you, friends, family, colleagues, acquaintances, friends of your mum's, aunts, Avon lady. Okay. Anyone and everyone, put them on the list. Okay. And then we're going to categorize them. And this is like the brutal bit, but it's really helpful to visualize and do if you're struggling. Some people don't have the struggle. They're just like, oh, we're going to count how many people we want to invite. That's how many people we're having. Fine. Sometimes you need to cut it down, which is why something like this would be helpful for you. So you're going to do 3 categories, okay? And you're going to split every single person on that list into 3 categories. First category is that there is no wedding without these people there. This tends to be a much smaller category of people that if they are not at this wedding, it's not happening. We would cancel type thing. If they couldn't make it, we change the date for them. This is your mum, your dad, your best friend, your closest immediate family, okay? And friends, that people that just mean the absolute world to you. They are one category. Highlight them in a color, put them on a new list, whatever it is. That's your first category. Your second category is we would absolutely love to have them there, but if they weren't there, wouldn't keep us up at night. Okay? It's not going to, like, the wedding would still go on. Okay? So it's like a nice to have, but not a deal breaker. Okay? That's your second category. Tends to be a bit bigger. It's, your friends, extended family, people like that you're like, oh, it's a real shame they couldn't come, kind of people, but we're still going ahead. And then your third category, which tends to be the most eye-opening, and it's going to be the most important category, is I'm not bothered if they're there or not. The obligatory category, the people that you feel like you have to invite, okay? Or your plus ones, or your work colleagues that you're like, yeah, come if you want. Don't care if you don't. Categorizing in this way, it's brutal. And obviously you're not going to tell anyone which category they're a part of, okay? It's harsh. Don't do it. But for you as a couple, it's really helpful for you to visualize, because then you're looking at these 3 new lists you've got and you're thinking, oh, okay, actually, if we wanted a really small, intimate wedding, we'd actually only need 15 people there. The people on our, if they're not there, it's not happening list. So that's really good to know. And then on our, we'd love to have them there, but it's not a deal breaker list, we've got another 40 people. Fine. So that's like 40, 50 people, 55 people, fine, including us. 55, just under 60 people. Great, good to know. But then on our not bothered if you're there or not list, and this is where you have to be honest with yourself as well. You can't be putting people on your list. Like, if you don't get on with someone in your family, like extended family, like your great aunt or your uncle or a cousin, and you're thinking, actually, I could not care if they're at my wedding day, put them on that list, okay? Just because they're family and you feel like, no, really, they should be on that, I'd love to have them there, but it's not a deal breaker list. No, that's not the point of these categories, okay? This isn't about what anybody else thinks. It's not about if your mum was sat next to you and she'd be going, no, your cousin Jude needs to be on this list. It doesn't matter about them. It's not about what this is about you as a couple. You can be brutal. No one's going to see these lists. No one's going to, just keep them hidden, maybe burn them afterwards, whatever. Nobody's going to see them. So you can be brutally honest with yourselves, and you can put your cousin Jude on the list because you think, oh, he's actually just not a nice guy and we really don't want him there. This isn't a decision-making point at this point in time, okay? You might still decide to invite Jude, fine. But the point of this is you're just putting them into categories so you can visually see when we get to the end of it, maybe there are 20 people on the list where you're thinking, I'm not bothered. And then there's a few work colleagues on there. There's a few people that your mum's saying, oh, I really want to invite your family friend. And you're like, I don't care if she's there. I'm not fussed if they come, mum. They're your friends, not mine. They're on that list. They're in this category, okay? And if you're struggling to cut down or you need to be brutal, these are the people where you're saying, cut, cut, cut. And they're not getting an invite. It can help you to visualize. It can be tough. And I know not everybody's family dynamics is easy to work around. And you might get some pushback on this, okay? You might get some people, your mum saying, do you know you have to invite Jude because you can't invite all your other cousins and not invite them? Well, actually, then look at your list. Are all of your other cousins on the I'd love to have them there, but it's not a deal breaker list? In which case, are you saying, in that case, we're not inviting any of the cousins? We're minimizing the guest list even more. We're going smaller. Because, yeah, okay, if we can't just not invite him because you don't really like him and he tends to ruin the vibes all the time, then maybe it's a decision you make as a couple where you say, okay, none of them are coming. And it's that simple because they're not on the wedding's not happening if they're not their list, Sometimes when you're having tough decisions to make and you're sat there and you're thinking, oh God, it's just really hard and I don't know, and oh, am I just gonna feel really uncomfortable if they're there and I don't want them there, and now I'm just feel like I'm inviting them because I have to invite them and not because I want them there, and it's an expense to have them there. It's going to cost us like £100 a head and we could save that, and if we invited 10 less people, then that's £1,000 that we've got to spend on something else. It's worth doing sometimes, right? So have that conversation together. I always recommend it. Brainstorm, make the lists. And like you said, just don't be showing anyone. But it's a really nice way to see how many people do we need at our wedding day. How many people is it absolutely imperative that they are there? And it can really help to put things into perspective, because you're like, actually, yeah, it doesn't bother me if we need to cut down. It's a shame to not have them there, but I'll get over it. Like I say, in a couple of days, I'll be like, yeah, that's just what we're doing. We've cut it down from 60 to 30 because it makes more sense for our budget, or it makes more sense for our venue space, or it makes more sense for other things. We'd rather put money into other areas so we can give the people that are there really amazing food and a really amazing time, and get a really great band to be there with the extra budget that we've got. Whereas if we just invite all these other people, the wedding's not really going to be what we want it to be. Maybe it's that kind of scenario. Whatever scenario it is, I know there are like a million different scenarios that you could be going through. Everyone's got something individual going on, right? Whatever it is, there's a process to go through that. And the guest list thing can really help. It can really help to visualize those things and just to put things into perspective. And like I've said, I know we are people pleasers. I know it's hard to own our decisions, but own it. It's your day. If you've got people coming up to you, you're in the engaged bubble, you're just not really, just starting to make some plans, and you've got extended family saying to you, oh my gosh, when's the wedding? Are we coming? Are we going to get an invite? Oh, exciting. Own it and say, oh, that's so lovely that you want to be there. We're actually just having a really small day because we've actually just got our guest list, just 30 people. We've just got it down to that many people. That's all we're having. That will cut off questions immediately. I say this all the time. You are going to upset someone whilst you're planning a wedding. Someone's going to get upset about something. It could be one person getting upset over something so irrelevant that you don't even think would be an issue. They will be bothered by it. It could be a few people where they're thinking, oh, I don't like that. Someone's going to get upset. People get funny about things because people like to have control over things that aren't anything to do with them. And I don't understand it. But remember that it's your day. Does not matter what anybody else thinks. I always like to look at it in the sense that if I'm going to upset someone anyway, I'm going to upset them doing it my way. Because even if I'm doing it the way mum wants me to do it, or the way someone else is suggesting I do it, if I do it the way that Aunt Sue is saying we do it, I'm actually going to then go and upset Uncle Steve. And if I do it his way, then I'm upsetting Aunt Sue. I can't have everything. You can't have it all the ways. So you should be doing it your way. If you're going to upset someone anyway, make it on your terms. I will say now, I have never spoken to someone that regrets like not inviting someone to their wedding day. I've never spoken to anyone that's been like, oh yeah, we didn't invite them in the end. We really wish we had, because it was just, looking back, really wish they were there. No, because you didn't invite them for a reason. There's a reason you didn't want them there. I know that there are people that have invited people that wished they hadn't, that have looked back and been like, oh, I wish we just stuck to our guns. Like, it's looking back now, it's so silly. We should have just owned it and said, no, you're not coming. There's no invitation for you. Sorry. I've never spoken to anyone that's felt the opposite way. So something to bear in mind. I know how tough it is. The people pleaser in me, she is feisty. And there are times in life where I have to really push her down and be like, no, this is not what we want. She's like, oh, but I don't want the awkwardness and I don't want the tension. And it's really, really tough. I feel like we should. And I really have to push back against her. She's a lot sometimes. So I know how tough it can be. I know that kind of doing things your way isn't always the norm, because maybe we're serving other people in life. We're always doing things for other people, or maybe you're just not the kind of person that wants to cause an issue. I get it. But if there's ever a time to cause a bit of a fuss, it's whilst you're planning your wedding. Okay? Just set people's expectations from the beginning of the process. Own it. It's your day. You might get some pushbacks from people. You might be sitting there thinking, oh, we have to invite them because they invited us to their wedding, and we went to their wedding and we had a nice time and it was lovely. So really we should return the favor, right? Let me get it straight. It's not a favor. It's not a favor. I'm not doing you a favor to invite you to my wedding. That's not what it is at all. As I said earlier, it's an honor. It's a luxury to be invited to someone's wedding. It's a privilege. It's not just given. You don't need to return the favor. That was their day. That was their choice on who they decided they wanted at their wedding day. You don't have to return the favor. Sometimes it's a case of they invited us to their wedding 4 or 5 years ago. We're actually not that close now, but we really feel like they're still expecting us to return the favor and invite them to their wedding, invite them to our wedding. So I'm losing track of my words in this episode. You know what I mean? Maybe you're not so close to them anymore, but you still feel like, oh, we should probably invite them. You don't have to. Sometimes relationships fizzle out, people get distant. You don't have to invite people just because they invited you. Again, it's tough. You might upset some people. But if you're looking to cut things down, sometimes it's not just in a malicious way either. Sometimes you're not saying, no, sorry, you're not coming because I just don't want you there and I just don't really like you and your bad vibes. You're not coming to my wedding day. Sometimes it's not malicious. Sometimes you're like, I'm really sorry. We're cutting back on things. We're having a small day or smaller day and we just don't have the capacity for everyone. Sometimes it's like, actually, we're only wanting 50 people and 40 of those people are our family. We've got a really big family. And we want the kids there. We want our kids there. We want family kids there. That's more important to us than having friends there or like less close friends, you know? Maybe it's that kind of situation. Everybody's situation is different. It's not always malicious. And if somebody thinks that, it's not your problem to have to deal with at the end of the day. You have to make decisions that serve you. You're not going to be saying, sorry, mum, you can't come to my wedding because we need to invite these 2 people because, we owe them one. No, it doesn't work like that. So sometimes you've got to be brutal. Sometimes it's tough. But that could be one of the reasons if you're feeling like, yeah, we need to return the favor, you don't. Another thing you might get is family saying, oh, well, mum really wants them there, or dad really said we should invite them and they want their family friends to come. Yeah, it's not their day. It's not their day. I say this, I feel like I say this in almost every episode. It's not their day. It's not their day. Not their day, not their decision. Okay, it's just not how it works. You can very politely say to family members that, want to bring other people, no, sorry. Same with plus ones. No, sorry. You don't even need to apologize. Just say no. That's enough. Just to say, our invites have gone out. This is who we're inviting. And like I said earlier, if you get some people kind of dropping out or people can't make it when you get your RSVPs, then you can make that decision. Do we want to just accept the RSVPs that we've got that say no and have a smaller day? Or do we actually have some space to say, yeah, okay, let's invite a few people on the backup list? And again, another pushback, if you keep getting people asking you when they're receiving their invite, some people are bold, some people are brave and they're not worried about it. They're not worried about upsetting you. They're going to ask for what they want. Are we getting an invite to your wedding? Then you need to have an answer ready just to say, oh, no, no, you're not. Thanks for asking. No, we're keeping it small. No, it's just close family. No, whatever your reason is, own it. Like I said at the beginning, if you're really struggling and you're kind of battling against yourself with like, oh, I really should invite them, I really should. Are they going to bring the energy you want for your day? I work so hard to encourage people to build a day that feels incredible for them. All the decisions you make, right? Think about it. Your venue sets the atmosphere for your day. The music is setting the tone. The things you wear is impacting your confidence and how you feel. And the styling adds to like the ambience of the day and how things feel. Are you really then just going to invite anyone and everyone, even if they're bringing bad vibes? No, thank you. No, thank you. We're really being intentional with every decision of our wedding planning, and that includes the people we're inviting to celebrate with us as well. You can be polite and kind while still holding your boundaries in place and saying, no, sorry, this is, we're only inviting these people. That's our decision. That's made. And you can have your backup list and you can go from there. But it can be tough. I know it can be tough. Even couples that I've worked with where they've not really mentioned too much during the planning process. They've just been like, oh, there's a few people that we've got to be careful where we sit them next to each other, like divorced parents and things like that. We don't want them on the same table, so we need to be quite careful. There was a couple that I worked with and they didn't want a seating plan, but they were saying, oh, we have to be so careful that, my mum and dad don't sit next to each other. And I was like, so then have a seating plan. And they were like, no, we don't want one. And I was like, okay, firstly, I'm going to say this now. Everyone needs a seating plan. Everyone. Everyone needs a seating plan, okay? You need to know where people are going to sit. It has such a big impact and it's so important. So yes, you should have a seating plan. But they were like, yeah, we don't want a seating plan, but we need to keep these people apart. So in the end, I was like, yes, seating plan, or at least tables. Give people a table to sit on at the very least. But you didn't hear too much from, the couple about like any drama or any guest list stuff. And then on the day, you just like, you pick up a few things on the wedding day. I'd be like, oh, and someone would come and speak to me and say, oh, can we move here? And is this person on this table? And what's happening with this? And I remember being like, oh, there's some drama that's been going on behind the scenes there. So it's not my place. It's got nothing to do with me, but you do pick up on a few things on the day. So I know it's really tough. I know it's hard. And as much as we love our families and friends, sometimes the logistics and just getting everyone that you love together in a room is not something you're ever going to do again. So it is tough trying to navigate that, and it's good fun. And the memories that come from it are amazing. Like, I don't want this to be an episode that's like doom and gloom and sad and miserable. Like, that's not what this is about. That's not what I'm about as a planner. But I know that some parts of it are tough. So hopefully this has just been a bit of like I guess another little pep talk to kind of help you navigate that process, help you decide how you're going to do your guest list. If you're looking to cut things down, again, I said at the beginning, some of you won't have this issue. Some of you will have, written down the amount of guests you want. We want these people to come, done. And you'll have gone and chosen a venue and you'll work through the process and it's not an issue. It's rare for a couple to not have anything, where there's one person that's giving you a bit of grief about wanting to bring a +1, or one person where you're thinking, oh, I really feel like we should invite them, and you're not 100% sold on it, right? It's rare to not have anything like that. So hopefully this has been a bit helpful, given you some insight, given you something to think about. And if we need to go over it again, let me know. If we've got some more questions about the topic, if there's anything you feel like, actually, I need you to go over this again, I need some more inspo and a bit more talking around this, let me know. If you've got more questions, or if you need help navigating, your seating plan and how things work, let me know. We can go through anything that would be helpful for you. But yeah, I think we're going to leave that there for today. Have a think about it with your partner, jot some things down, and I am always here if you need me. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for listening. I will be back next week with another episode. Weekly on Wednesdays, these come out. So if you are brand new and listening and you're thinking, this is quite nice, this is quite good, this is quite a good bit of wedding inspo, where can I listen again? I'll be back next Wednesday with another episode, and there's plenty more for you to catch up on in the meantime. As I said earlier on in the episode, if there's anything else you need, info from me, links to socials, email signups, Facebook groups, watch on YouTube, all that kind of stuff, it's all in the show notes, so you can go and find it there. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. I will speak to you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and excited to create your dream wedding day and those lasting memories. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I'll be back next Wednesday with more tips, advice, and inspiration. In the meantime, don't be a stranger. Come and find me on Instagram and TikTok at Your Wedding Unlimited, where I share even more wedding ideas and behind-the-scenes insights. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube at Your Wedding Unlimited. And if you're looking for even more support, come and join my private Facebook group, Your Wedding Unlimited. It's an amazing community of fun and authentic engaged couples, packed with extra tips, advice, and insights to guide you along your journey. If you have any questions or need more info, you can DM me or send me an email at yourweddingunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. All links and details will be in the show notes. Until next time, happy planning!